Yo, what's up, Ray? I told you I would shoot you off this information a while ago, but I forgot. So, if you remember correctly, maybe you didn't know, I taught a class last couple of years called Fantastic 12. And what it was 12 variations of the Fantastic Four, which were pretty standard, you know? You have the standard Fantastic Four that's off both the thighs, you have the Fantastic Four off of each knee, and you have it off both feet. You have it off the shoulder girdle as well, inside the armpits. You can rack these as well as like going up and down on one side as a Fantastic Four almost. You also have the foot back. Let's see if I can get into frame so you can see this. But you also have the foot back variation of the Fantastic Four. And then you also have obviously the sidestep. And then you have under the leg Superman, uses a transitional period. And then you also have groundwork that transitions into this too. So originally I denoted all this stuff 1 through 12. And so you have 12 variations and then so on and whatnot. That way you can build up the more complex patterns. So I don't know if you can see this. Numbers. So it's backwards to you, but I got it labeled 1 to 8. The first one, so I start off by labeling the body at 1 here for the Fantastic Four variation. 2 is the standard. 3 is the front of each knee if it's bent in or out in tree pose. 4 is the bottom of each foot. And then 5 I have foot back. 6 I have sidestep. And then 8 I have as a Superman transition. I use a Superman transition underneath the leg on both sides this way to kind of like give a beat rhythm and show some transitionary kind of ideas. So what I mean by all this, I'm going to adjust the camera for you real quick and see if I can get a better view of my legs and body. Let's see how this works. So starting off with just the standard 1. So a 1 for me in my idea is going here just in the shoulder girdles, like inside the armpits on top and underneath. So that's 1, right? And like I said, you can also do it just on that one side, kind of just like firing it up and then down, up and then down. You also have this as an idea as well. So this could be also changed to where you have this plus sign that's almost like a human body, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. I found out that any right angle you have, like that 90 degree, like kind of like quarter time, that right angle that you have, you can essentially place a Fantastic Four kind of variation or a way to use one of the heads to go underneath or above a different part of the body. It's the same thing of doing Fantastic Four, just like on this one side over here with that kind of like rotation of the extension of the media. So there's a lot to play with. So, sorry, I got on a tangent. So 1 is here, right? Just the shoulders inside and on top. So underneath, on top, underneath, on top. 2, normal, you know this. 2 is just the standard Fantastic Four, you know, just 1, 2, 3, 4. As I mentioned, 5 is the knees, I believe. No, sorry. 1 is shoulders, 2 is norm, 3 is knees. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one gives me a lot of trouble sometimes because I just don't practice it very much. But I notice if I go at an angle or if I use the shoulder assist, it helps a little bit more. But you get the point for real quick for you. So that's knees, and then next you have feet. You have here versus here, right? So this is just taking the Fantastic Four and just kind of working it up and down the body, right? And then 5 is foot back, which is one of the ones I really like. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but you can use the shoulder as a helper, but it's very difficult to hit just 1, 2, 3, 4 right there without using that beat up on the body. If you do, you have to really kind of fucking swing that edge up and then get it back. It's tricky. And then sidestep. You know sidestep. Reverse it on this side. Start off with pinky lead meteor. But if we hit in here and then switch over to there, that's another one. And then of course the under the leg would be the last, right? So what this means, you look at this now as site swap. So think about site swap when they give the different notation for a held in one hand a single toss, a single double, a single triple, and then toss the one hand, toss over the other hand, toss double over the hand, toss three over the hand. It's kind of a way to like look at notation to build up new patterns. So like a 1-1-4, you know what I mean? And this is what you do with Fantastic Fours. Now, from 8, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is underneath the leg. I think I said 8, my bad. So 1 through 7 is the component building blocks. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are wraps around a body part, which what I mean is pinky led or thumb led to do a wrap like I do a lot, the leg wraps, where you wrap around the knee. You can do that inside Fantastic Fours as well. Pinky led on native side works the best, but when the poi goes behind you, wrap it around the knee. And then same thing, thumb led side, when pinky is behind you, wrap around the knee. 10, 11, and 12 are kind of like groundwork and wraps and throughs. Also the old school like chewy variations where it's like goes above the body and switches in that way, which we've talked about. So let's get to business. So I'm tanging a little bit, but I want to kind of explain things to see and show you where I'm going and where I'm coming from in this concept. So what I'm going to do is generate a pattern now by mixing these numbers, and this is the important thing of this, is taking these numbers and mixing it. So let's say I'm going to do a 1, 5, 4, a 1, 5, 4. So that would be, I can pick native or non-native. Easier to pick non-native. If not, you have to kind of convert to switching over to pinky led first, because if not, going from thumb led into standard native side from the shoulder is possible, but it's weird, you know what I mean? But makes things more interesting. So I'm going to do a 1, 5, 4, okay? So 1 is obviously up here, so 1 is right there. A 5 is a foot back, and I can't do this side from this side, because if I do, you get a degree of twist, and the actual tangle behind the foot. So I do opposite, so I do native side with my left foot on my right side. And then 4 would be foot as well, but not back foot, it'd be standard foot out. So let's try that real quick. So, 1, 5, 4. All right, one more time. So, 1, step back, 2, 4. 1, 5, 4, sorry. So this is where I'm getting. Now, here's the thing that's kind of fun. I'll kind of try and put this together. I'm going to do a 1, 5, 4, a 1, 5, 4 if I can pull it off. So I'm going to do a 1 here, come back down, 5, 4, and then I'm going to come back up into my side and do 1, come back down, 5, 4. Let's try that a little bit faster. So 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, 4. So that's a 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, 4. So that was a shoulder to back of the foot step out to the same foot stepping up front foot, right? So this is the thing that gets crazy is you write this notation and challenge yourself to do everything just on one side of the body, which is probable, but it's weird. So if I did like a 1, 5, 4 on the same side of body, it would be like 1, 5, 4. So there's still going to be some grievances where things change on one side of the body versus the other, and be a little trickier, just because you're not going to have, you know, the tension to hit those spots most accurately, as you would if you sprain across your body, because you're going to have the tension pulling it back and forth from side to side, adding weight to it. I know I don't need to go into groundwork for you. Groundwork works the same way. So if you take the plank mode from where you're at, and you know shoulder is the standard on the ground, right? Because the ground is always going to be this shoulder work where you're outside, and this is where it's going to be primarily be. It's going to be this arm and a little bit of transition on here, but you can do standard by rotating your body over. You can do under the leg while you're on the ground. You can do wraps, they're a little tricky. You can do corkscrews. So there's something else to put in there. I don't want to freaking get weird about it, but corkscrews from Fantastic Four. So you know you can hit like a Fantastic Four normally, and you can throw a corkscrew and then hit back into Fantastic Four. on both sides, right? So that's something else you can think about. You know what I mean? Like the same thing we were saying, 154, you could hit 1-1 all the way around, back step, foot. So that's another added into the frequency of what we're doing and building these patterns. So without getting too crazy, just recap. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I mentioned. That's shoulders, that's standard between the legs, that's the front of the knees, that's the foot going back. This is a side step, this is the, side step, and then the Superman. And like I mentioned, you build numbers together. I don't know if this is gonna read normal to you or not. So like 154 we did, and we did 154 again, right after that. So that's the frequency of the sequence, So we did a 154, 154. And so you could do a one, you could do these, this is crazy. So you can go do a 1, 5, 4, 3, 6, 7, 8, 1, 5, 9, 3, 2. So you can do all of these and build like a pattern sequence of 24 numbers if you wanted and call it the Fantastic 24. So in that, before I go, I'm going to show you what my Fantastic 12 is. So this is a pattern I kind of coined because it takes into context 12 beats. So I count the beats by 1, 2, 3, 4. So it hits back of my body, inside of my leg, that's 1, 2. It switches over, hits the other back of my body, 1, 2, 3, 4. So technically, if you want to be anal about it, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be more standard. What I did there was like almost like 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because I used the shoulder girdle. That's another thing to think about is like you have the shoulder positions as well to like bring into different patterns. So Fantastic 12, I use the Superman as transition to turn. You can turn in Superman, you can turn in any Fantastic Four. If you just take the beat rhythm of the way you're doing it and not rodeo it, but take that step like a rodeo, you can turn 360 in any Fantastic Four pattern. Some of them are more difficult as well. So this is another added thing you can throw in there is 1 through 12, take out the groundwork, put number 10 or 9 as a 360 or a 180. And so you have a 154 and then throw a 180 in the 4, so a 1, 5, 184. So Fantastic 12. So this is Fantastic 12. So basically all I'm doing is an under the leg, turning around, and as soon as I turn, if I don't do this to turn, I go here, 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 here. This is what it should be. It should be an under the leg, followed by a couple of shoulder girdles, coupled by a couple of feet, and then a couple of back foot to finish it, right? If I remember the numbers right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I fucked it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one more time for you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fucked it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. So that's what I'd call my Fantastic 12 for a while because it's just mashing a bunch of these patterns together while rotating in a Superman, putting together 4 beats. 12 beats, sorry. I think that's it, man. I think that kind of explains what I'm going for. Just to give you an idea, I used to do 1 through 12, and then I sat down with, I don't remember who it was. It was like Matt or Daniel or somebody, and they wanted to know it too, so I shared the notation with them. And they were like, well, why do you do 1 through 12? Why don't you just do single numbers on one side of the body? Because it would be like 1, and then 2, and 3, and 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12 would be your variations. So it's not ground in stone, but it's an idea I've been working on for a fucking hot minute. So just, yeah, enjoy. Let me know if you got any feedback, man.